In recent weeks, the nation has come to examine the unfortunate fact that too many of our lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender youth are subject to extreme bullying and taunting that can result in the decision for some of those young people to end their lives. The suicides of Tyler Clementi in New Jersey, Asher Brown in Texas, Seth Walsh in California, Raymond Chase in Rhode Island, Billy Lucas in Indiana, and several others have galvanized us to take action. For much of the LGBT civil rights movement, taking action has involved telling our personal stories. The act of coming out, while intensely personal, has proven to be our most potent weapon against intolerance and hate. It has helped us to win the rights and responsibilities that have for so long been denied. Today, in light of the heartbreaking stories emanating from communities across America, the LGBT community has returned to our tradition of telling our stories, this time to our youth. These stories are all unique, but they share a common message. It gets better. Growing up in San Diego, I was very much aware of my sexual orientation. Like most others, I was ashamed of who I was. I believed that my feelings were something to be suppressed, to be hidden, never discussed. I hid who I was from my family and my friends. I internalized the messages that I heard too often in my school and in my neighborhood, that I was a freak, that I would be alone, that I was destined to be unhappy, that I was a faggot. This internal struggle, coupled with the external bullying, took its toll. I limited my social interactions in hopes of avoiding awkward situations. I kept loved ones at a distance out of fear that they would discover my secret. The inability to be who I was and the lack of authentic relationships was simply exhausting. It left me sad, and it invited the kinds of thoughts that too many of our LGBT youth entertain when they struggle with their identity in a world that seems unwilling to accept them as they are. But I'm here to tell you, the youth of our community, that it does get better. After years of playing the game, accepting the taunts, and just muddling through, I decided that I was worth fighting for. It was while I was a college student that I summoned the courage to tell my truth, to come out and let the chips fall where they may. It was one of the hardest things that I have ever done in my life, but it was also one of the best. To be sure, it wasn't without consequences. It was tough. I lost some friends. For a time, it invited even more bullying. But I found that the bullies only have as much power as we give them. By coming out, I robbed them of the most powerful tool that they had, shame. I simply wouldn't be ashamed of the way God made me. Indeed, I was surprised by how positive things turned out. My relationships with the friends who stood beside me grew stronger and in many cases endure to this day. To a person, my family responded with nothing but pure love. The walls that I had built to keep people out were gone, and the freedom of being direct and honest and real made my life infinitely better. But that's not all. It got even better than that. While going through my own process, I found my voice as an activist. Disappointed to discover the college I attended did not include sexual orientation in its non-discrimination policy, I worked with other students to have that changed. I helped build a campus organization to provide support to other LGBT students and improve the overall campus climate. It was through these efforts that I learned how to bring change and to speak out for those who need a voice, the very skills that I call upon each and every day to help the people that I represent on the San Diego City Council. In fact, my election to public office is tangible proof that gay Americans can be fairly judged by their fellow citizens for who they are, not who they love. It does get better. It may not seem that way today. You may not even be able to conceive of a world where you are accepted and loved. I remember feeling that way too. But with time, I discovered that I was wrong. You are not alone. There are people out there who love you and care about you just the way you are. Reach out to them. Reach out to the ones that you trust. If you're being bullied or harassed, there are resources out there that can help you. Please use them. Finally, I ask you to have hope. The late, great Harvey Milk famously said, "You can't live on hope alone, but without it, life is not worth living. You've got to give them hope." I have hope because I know it gets better. I hope you do too.